to the show with your friend and mine. So tell me, Doctor Squee, who's it gonna be this time? We like to hear you talk, but we love to hear you listen. And if you are not subscribed, you won't know what you're missing. So welcome to the Doctor Squee Show. Welcome to the Doctor Squee Show. Welcome to the Doctor Squee Show. Headphones up. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Doctor Squee Show. I'm Dr. Squee and this is my show. I am currently just waiting for our guest today. As always, with YouTube with Facebook being what it is, we do have to go live within 5 minutes of the original broadcast time. Otherwise, it just cans the broadcast and I have to reschedule. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you don't need to worry about that. So we are waiting for Mr. Tony Law. I'm sure he'll be with us any minute. He is the wonderful stand-up comedian, winner of such accolades as the Chortle Award Best Club Comic 2013, Chortle's Best Show Award winner 2013, Foster's Edinburgh Comedy Award nominee 2012, the Chortle Awards Breakthrough Act of 2012, and of course the Amused Moose Laughter Award winner in 2011. I want to talk to him about the Amused Moose because I'm always very pleased with anything from Canada, to be frank. But the fact that they are so wonderful at making fun of themselves as well as foiling those stereotypes at the same time. So something I'm very much looking forward to talking to Tony about. Hopefully he'll be joining us soon. I sort of also had to go live straight away because this during my lunch break at work, so I've only got the set amount of time for this. So yeah, hopefully Tony will be with us any moment. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Friday at last. We got through another week, and just thinking, is there anything interesting I've had going on? I've been watching Line of Duty. I've watched it straight from the beginning through to now, and man, is that a satisfying show, especially watching it back to back like this. I now find myself just at the edge of the seat when you find Hastings saying, there's only one thing I care about, and you're like, he's going to say it, and that's bent coppers. Oh man, there is no greater pleasure in my week now than hearing him say that. I'm just 2 episodes away from the end. I'm partway through the penultimate episode, where sadly apparently ends. I've just got there as well. So there's that. What kind of else? I had the show last night. If you ever want to tune in and catch us live, it's the Doctor Squee Show on thebear.live every Thursday, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. UK time. And we have a good time over there. We play some tunes. We have some chat. And we're usually a bit more prepared than this. We've got some guests. So I usually pre-record the guests from here, stream live, and then put it forward onto the airways with loads of other stuff thrown in. You can always check out the podcast as well. So if you want to do that, here's where you find us on Twitter and Instagram. But if you go to drsquee.com, you can find the show, or on your favorite podcatcher. And I've interviewed the likes of, Ashley and Yenny recently, who's from the Human Centipede. So come on, she's got to have a story to do or two to tell. And she indeed did. We've had Tim Brooke Taylor, the late great now Tim Brooke Taylor, sadly. I interviewed him just before his sad passing due to COVID. Kevin Hearn from the Bare Naked Ladies. What a wonderful guest he was. And also Lou Reed's band leader near the end of his life and his career, obviously. So some wonderful stuff you can check out there. I've got at least one of you watching, just watching me come talk to myself. But if you're watching, I believe you're watching on Superpod UK, say hello. If you put in a comment, I'll be able to see it and it'll give me something to talk about for a while. I was talking to the director of a film Roadhead, David Del Rio, which I highly recommend you check out that film. Very funny horror comedy. It's great. And he was noticing my Freddie Mercury picture. And he was saying that it looks like Freddie Mercury crossed with Edgar Allan Poe. And of course, this is Freddie Mercury from his Barcelona days. So that's why he's in the bow tie and tux there, looking very suave. While I'm waiting, that's also me and, there you go. That's me with John Hurt. You can't really see him very well. Let's bring him forward. See, it flips everything on the camera. I'm not just being dumb. So that is Sir John Hurt, the late great again. Got to meet him at London Comic Con. Not only did I get my photo taken with him, but he also he was popping to the toilet at the same time as me. And of course, being not only professional but a solid member of society, I did not talk to him while I was in the loo. But he struck up a conversation with me. So I'm there. Like I was there early at the event because I was holding the stall where we were selling a few bits. And, you know, John Hurt, I knew was going to be there. I knew I had my photo with him later. Set up the stall, went to the loo, and lo and behold, he's there. And he goes, "Oh, how are you doing today?" It's like, it's John Hurt at the urinal. He's talking to me. Oh, but that John Hurt story will wait because we have got the fabulous Tony Law here.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. I'm just trying to connect to my headphones. It's a better sound. Okay. So the microphone's all good. I'm not doing it in my usual cupboard. So
you have a podcasting cupboard.
Yeah, it's like a linen cupboard.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a linen cupboard, and yeah, but with soundproofing and everything, it works really good.
Oh, fantastic!
Audio
Yeah, I've heard this.
output.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people. There's the studio called Big Finish. They do the Doctor Who audio dramas, and there's so many people on there who, because of the lockdown, they had to record from home. So there were several converted cupboards under the stairs and attics and things like that.
Yeah. That's so mine's the linen cupboard. There's still linen in there. We still store stuff in there. I empty it all out, and then I've got my microphone and set up. And there's like a little shelf right in front of my face, so I'm always really close in, you know. Anyway, do I need to share screen or anything like that?
No, you're here. We can see you very nicely. We're here side by side.
Do I get to do? Can you do like a green screen on this one? Like your backgrounds? No.
Well, I've just got this picture. I can set one up in advance, but had I known, I would have got some stuff ready.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, I quite like backdrops. I know it's naff. I'm pretty sure people think it's really naff doing that, but I love it. I love it. That's typical older guy with new technology. Give me some of those backdrops. Oh, look, I'm in a sitcom studio. Oh, but I'm not. This is magic.
Well, yeah, my day job, I was at a disco during meetings today. It was lots of fun. The endless hours we have.
Are you doing work from home now? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm working from home for the NHS. My job actually wouldn't exist if it wasn't for COVID, because we're making phone calls. I'm a team leader for people making phone calls, for checking up on people, like making bookings, things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
good for COVID. Oh, I'm sweating out here. Very humid, isn't it?
When you say good for COVID, you've started sweating. Do we need to quarantine this fall?
Good. I had it. Did you ever get it?
No, I was lucky. I just had my second vaccine, and both times I had exactly the same, quite mild side effects just for a day. Felt like I'd run a marathon, and I was just really tired.
Yeah, see, I didn't get any side effects from my 2 jabs because I'd already had it. So I got it last October, and it absolutely finished me, wiped me right out. It was the worst sickness I've ever had. And I've had a lot. I've had some nasty ones, but that it was exactly how they described it on the tin. And they said, this is not a flu. Anyone who says that, I feel like they had flu.
I was going to say, I think you'd appreciate the fact that you've got like extra goggle eyes coming from a light somewhere.
Oh, do I?
It was looking
oh,
brilliant.
yeah. That's my little.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, I've got those little lights you put on the.
Oh,
you put on the top like that.
I think it look great. It's like extra little eyes.
Normally, I wear a headlamp as well, because when I'm first getting into the cupboard, it's really dark in there. So I have this headlamp on, and then when I go on gigs and stuff, that I'd leave the headlamp on. And it created a really awesome effect. I guess you can imagine it like this.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, so are we doing a podcast right now? Is our audio being recorded?
The way it works is this. So we have the premiere on video here on live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And then it goes to my radio show next Thursday.
Okay.
And it goes in as part of that. So I do some tunes and chat around that. And then the week after, the day after that, it goes out on the podcast form. So we try and catch everyone everywhere.
Oh, great. That's the way to do it. I've been only doing my stream just on Twitch to build up numbers on that. But now I think I'm going to launch it out on YouTube and just start doing it to like what you say, what you've been doing there.
Like
do you put it out on podcast? Oh, I've been doing
podcast last.
What have I been using? What's this one you're using?
So this is Restream, and I use StreamYard.
I use the other one.
Wonderful.
StreamYard? Yeah, StreamYard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been using StreamYard.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send it. So where does this go out on a podcast then?
It's anchor.fm/Doctor Squee.
Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, I love it. So you like your Doctor Who, Star Trek, and Freddy? I love Freddy. My daughter just fell in love with Freddy.
Oh, he's just the best. I was just vamping for a while I was waiting for you. This is my picture. You can't make it up, but it's me and John Hurt from one of the events.
Ooh, wow.
And my claim to fame is I went for a pee at the same time as him before the con was open because I had a stall. I was selling some bits there. And I went into the bathroom. Of course, like knowing the etiquette, I don't strike up a conversation with me. John Hurt starts a full-on conversation while he's having a pee.
Oh, wow.
That's a gent.
That's a gentleman. That's someone who's confident.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Really I love that. Good for him. Yeah, he's a proper legend, isn't he?
Much missed.
Yeah, I was gonna try and slip in a route, try and test out a new idea I had, but it's too late now. Now I've admitted that's what I was gonna do. So it's gonna feel clunky. But oh damn! I meant to say that I actually got my I got my vaccine on the dark web. I don't know. That's all I've got with it so far. I just think there's something about no, I don't trust the usual one, so I went and got one on the dark web. I don't trust the government's Pfizer one, but I trust this one.
I'm adding you to a list. So I always say when people kind of try and deny COVID, like, right, here are all the people who would have to be in on it to do. And I'm adding Tony Law to that because I don't think you've lied anything like that. You know, you, if anything, a stream of honest consciousness in your work.
Yeah. The dark web where you get all your narcotics, your guns, your contract murders, and now your vaccine.
Yeah. And I think they do Nando's as well.
Yeah, do they? Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to get to it. And it terrifies me. I don't think I'd ever go on the dark web. Just hearing about it makes me go, oh.
Yeah. I'll go on the wuss web, the pussy web. Any kind of,
that's my web.
Nice and safe.
I don't even go on Twitter anymore because it's too harsh. Like I don't do anything on Twitter anymore apart from just say when my show's on. Just because people just got too mean, didn't they? There's the potential for meanness. I think maybe young people, they grow up tougher than us. They seem to handle it. The really young ones.
I think it's just what happens. So they have to be more used to it. Like for us, it's new and different. It's just for them. It's just a thing. It's like watching shows on YouTube, even though I technically am now a show on YouTube. It's like those YouTube stars are only known for that. And it'll never make any sense to me, but that's great for them. Like Twitch stars. It's cool. I'll jump on the bandwagon, but I don't get it.
Some of the stuff my son watches, it's not comedy. It's not, what is this? Just watching a bloke do dumb shit. But he loves it. So, you know, who am I to
people
judge?
Opening boxes as well. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it, but cool. That's what you're into. I'm not judging it. I'm just me. It's me. I don't get it.
That's pretty capitalistic, isn't it? Like because I don't even like opening a box of something I've got that I really want. It's they're hard to get into. Like got my first new laptop in like 14 years or something, and I couldn't get into it. How do they? This box is tight. It's a lot of. Finally got it out though, but I hope I don't have to resell it because, man, I torched that. Torched it.
How did you torch it?
Well, I guess my vocabulary is becoming smaller because I've stopped watching TV, like TV shows and stuff. Speaking of like taking the mickey out of my son, I only watch stuff on YouTube now too, but I only watch stuff about the NFL. I've really narrowed my focus. I mean, I used to be into history, and I get my regular history magazines, and they're piling up because all I'm into is the NFL. I'm becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I didn't have the vocabulary. So I said torched, which of course I didn't torch. No, I just ripped it apart. There's a better word than torched, isn't there?
You ripped apart the boxes, not the laptop, I assume.
Yeah, the box, yeah.
It sounded like you'd just taken a flamethrower to your laptop, which seems like a very extravagant thing to do.
If I lived in the country, I probably would have done that. That's the only thing. That's the main drawback of city living, I think, is you can't do stuff like burn stuff with torches, and can't just fire a shotgun at a bin. We used to take we'd get buckets of gasoline, and we'd take it down by the garbage bins where we used to burn our garbage, and we'd try and shoot off the side to create a spark to blow it up. But it didn't really ever blow up. It would kind of just go like it burnt, but it wasn't kabam, because I guess it wasn't inside of a bomb. But anyway, that's the sort of stuff I'd be doing now. Firing bullets at a garbage can to ignite some petrol, or gas, as we called it.
You may have already kind of in one way answered this, but I did read on Wikipedia, so we'll always take it with a pinch of salt, but you described your younger self as a dickhead. What did your younger self do to earn your ire?
Yeah, I don't know if he was. I think he was all right. I guess I was mining for self-deprecation and attention that way. Yeah, I just wanted people to think I was nice and humble. I think that's literally why I did it. Because I think I was a pretty nice kid, actually. I think up until about 17, then I started drinking. And things went downhill after that.
Right. And when did you... Oh, sorry, come.
No, go ahead. You.
No, I was just going to say, like, when did you make the decision to move over to the UK? What kind of prompted that happening?
When did I do that? Yeah, so, geez, 1989. Yeah, I was working in like a factory, and I just didn't. I was always into history, and I wanted to travel, so I thought this isn't going anywhere. So I just started saving money, and then sold my car and came over to just travel. That's all it was about. Just come and see some culture. And within 2 years, I'd been to Africa, and I'd been to, all over Europe and South America. And so traveling and working. Yeah, that's what that all started. And then I ended up just staying in the UK because the UK was always a base. Yeah, so it's history, just loving history and wanting to see some of it.
Right.
The
one thing
Canadian history is not much. Yeah, loads of it. It's great. The stuff I'm into at the moment is like, I like old history. I like Anglo-Saxons. I like the Dark Ages when the Roman Empire left Britain and people were sort of left on their own, and they were burying their treasure hoards, thinking it's kind of like a really scary but also optimistic thing. Like, we're going to bury this and we'll be back for it. And isn't that crazy that it's like 1,500 years later, we find their stuff. Some farmer's out with his metal detector, finds a hoard of coins and gold and brooches and all that. And it's kind of, so that time when the Roman Empire collapsed and the Dark Ages, I love that. That's when, figuring out what all the place names are, whether they're Saxon or whether they're Britain or Celtic. I love all that. Then the Vikings. So that's my era. I like 300 AD up to about 1,000. When everyone converts to Christianity around the 900s, then I start getting a little bored. But people were bad back then. Everybody was bad. Everyone was bad.
It offers me a bit of hope, though. Look, we've been through dark ages before. We'll be fine once we get over this bit. We're just in another little bump again.
But it's so interesting, like the amount of goods, like on archaeological digs, that from the things they would find on levels from during the Roman Empire. There was really good roads. They had loads of great architecture. I mean, most of that's been lost to us now. But I like the idea that the sort of wild Anglo-Saxons, when they arrived in London and they looked at some of the big structures there, they thought that they must have been built by giants, because they couldn't even conceive of who would build this. So they thought giants made it. There's a great podcast, actually, you should listen to, called oh shoot, let me get it up on my phone. It's so good. It's so good I can't remember its name. Where the hell is it? Oh my god, I love this one so much. Why is it okay? This is not making good podcast me.
That's okay. I mean, I did notice.
I think it's the.
Sorry.
Oh no, I think it's the.
While you were looking.
The yeah, you talk while I look. That's a good idea.
Yeah. No, all I was going to say is it was noted on Wikipedia. Again, take it with a pinch of salt, but that your kind of look tends to look a bit Anglo-Saxon. Is there kind of a purposeful vibe ever to that? Like, because you do have a wonderful eccentric look some days.
Well, yeah, I used to try and look. I like to look like a kind of a combination between an explorer and a Viking.
Yeah.
So, which is what Vikings were explorers, amongst some other things. Yeah. So that was the idea behind that. Oh, it's called. I think it's it's loading again. Where is it? Yeah, the fall of civilizations. Fall of Civilizations, and episode 1 is about the Britain when the fall of the Roman Empire and the beginning of this dark age where everyone was scared and ignorant and awesome. It's kind of like Cormac McCarthy, The Road, that sort of stuff. It feels like that's what that age was like.
It's sounding way too familiar. That's the thing that worries me. Like, they were very ignorant. They were very scared of things. It's like
yeah. That's what we are all at our base level. If we take our foot off the gas. But anyway, I sure got it dark there. How are you?
I'm good. I'm fine. It's Friday. Hey, at the end of the week. One thing which I did love, I'm a big fan of Canada. I do a podcast where we talk about due south. I just like into Canadian things. And what I love about it is that there's a wonderful sense of humor. Like, it's like England. You like to take the piss, but whilst confounding stereotypes at the same time. I love the fact that one of your first awards was the Amused Moose Laughter Award. It's very Canadian somehow.
When I heard the name of it, I thought, I need to win that. It's got to be a Canadian to take the first one. And and a really nice trophy of a great big silver moose. Although I seem to have misplaced it. Yeah, that was good. That got me going. I had that launched a short period of success for me, and then I kind of buggered it all up by a bit too much.
Mm-hmm. For the radio, let it be said that Tony Law is currently doing the drinky motion.
Yeah. So I guess, because by about 2013, it looked like I was about to become really successful. And the thing I'd been trying to do was about to be achieved. And on some level, deep in my gut, I felt like I didn't deserve it, I think. And then I just, self-sabotaged. And then it's been a long road back from there. But it's good. It's going good again now, though.
Obviously, I know that every comedian, of course, wants to have success. But do you think you'd want to be to that level of success where it kind of almost limits you? Because the more success, the more notes. It's kind of my experience with performance.
Yeah. I guess I just want to be able to make a living and live a little bit more comfortable. That would be good. That's all I want. Fame, you lose the desire for that quite young, I think. I sure did anyway. Like, I enjoyed when people know who you are. You could fill up your gigs more easily that way. And it's when I was on TV and stuff, the gigs were full and big, but they weren't as good as they are when there's like 90 people in a town who know you and discovered you live, or maybe they discovered you on TV, but they've stayed with you. They're real fans. And so those gigs are incredible, if you know what I mean. But when you do a gig to 500 people and most of them seen you because you were on the telly, it's slightly different. Like you can't be as mad as you want. You know, they want more kind of down the middle routines, I guess.
You see, that's what I'm getting at. I sort of, it sounds mean, but hear me out. I sort of don't want you to get mega famous only because your comedy is so wonderfully surreal. I saw you, I'd seen you on TV a few times. So when you came to Southampton many moons ago at what's now the Art House, but it was somewhere different at the time, Simon Mayo's comedy night.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not Simon Mayo. Something Mayo. I'm forgetting his first name. Chris Mayo.
Yeah, Chris Mayo. Yeah.
And you were just like, it was just so wonderfully surreal. You just spend the whole thing with a comedy Mickey Mouse hand doing the Nando's routine where you're patting a dog and batting something else away. Like, and you built a whole act around it. And I just remember thinking, like, you couldn't do this if you got to a certain level of fame.
Yeah, and I think also by doing that, you make sure that you don't reach a level of fame. You're like you limit yourself to the people who it is good. It's like you want to be like one of those bands you really like that you don't want to become big because they do kind of you know, you want to discover them and they're yours. You don't want to share them with, you know, Johnny Doe or whatever.
I think Richard Herring's kind of like, I know you've been on his show before, he's kind of hit the perfect niche of getting a really great loyal base, but it not beyond a certain point where you have to compromise what you're doing. I think that's kind of like that's where I want you to be at, sir.
Yeah, that's where I'd like to get to. I'd like to get to that level, or Stuart Lee's level. I think he's really nailed it, although he's a bit bigger than I would like to go. So halfway to Stuart Lee would be perfect because he's that big that I think he probably gets trouble from people who don't like him.
He's a real outlier as well. His stuff is so kind of niche. I love it, but like, you know what I mean? It's got a certain tone to it where not everyone's going to love it, but he's somehow broken through the ceiling of where that style should be able to. I don't know how he's managed it.
Yeah, he manages to punch up and down, which is that's very hard to do. I try not to punch anyone. I just try and I try and keep it right down the middle, but I like to bring on board. I like having a really diverse audience, and I mean properly diverse. Like I like it if I can have like an 84-year-old couple there and, you know, a 91-year-old man on his own there, and then some 14-year-olds here. And of all different backgrounds, if you can make some university students laugh the same amount as a guy who's just come in from working in the sewage plant, I don't know, or if you could, a group of football hooligans who just happen to like surreal humor, them. Yeah. And a couple of drag queens. Like the more fabulous everyone looks and different, the better. I think that's a great thing because if you're cutting through to some sort of fun level that cuts through all of that other stuff, doesn't it? I'd hate for my audience to all look the same.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, one of the comedians I find the most exciting at the moment, who's just kind of, relatively speaking, come to notoriety, is Jeff Norcott, and he's a conservative. He comes from the point of view of being conservative.
I like that. That's really unique.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree. It's like, because otherwise we just end up all sounding exactly the same. I love being on a bill with him, actually. It's just...
Who knew that was going to be the punk rock of today, was being conservative comedian? Like that's been
it kind of is. Well, I like doing that. I remember when I was in a car with Stuart, he was talking about that Comedy Unplugged gig, and he was jokingly calling it that right wing gig, but he said, what did he say? Didn't call it a Nazi gig, but he said something that was like, he was joking about it. But immediately I went, oh, what's that gig? Not because I'm like that. I just thought that can't be right. I doubt there's people doing comedy who are really nasty. And then so I went to investigate it then. And it was like, most of the acts weren't even conservative. They were just acts who sometimes say the odd thing that's a bit dodgy or a bit edgy, you know, like Andrew Doyle or whatever.
Yeah.
But most of them were like the same liberal type comics, but there was no danger of any of them getting canceled for saying the wrong thing. And anyway, then another comedian said, oh, you don't ever do that gig because it will brand you. And I said, no, now I have to do it because I did it and didn't change a thing that I say. I didn't change a word of it. Did really well there, and they book me all the time. So I'm not going to not do it. And I've never heard anyone there. The only one who's said anything that makes me kind of go a little bit is what's he called? The Scottish guy.
I'm trying to think. Oh, when the one who's really with his material.
Well, you remember Jerry Sadowitz? He wasn't there, but I remember
that's what I'm thinking of.
Some of the things that he says. I just go, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But you know, it tests your free speech, doesn't it? It tests you, makes you go, okay, well, that's not what I would have said, but there he said it. Like it gives you got to be able to take everything from across the spectrum, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think that's really important, especially at the moment for obvious reasons. But like, you know, Jeff Norcott was one of the first people I've seen in a very long time who's a conservative, like right-leaning comedian who sounds like one of my mates down the pub. They kind of take the piss out of their own side, admit they're wrong, whereas a lot of the voices which we hear on the left, and I'm sure there's a liberal bias, I'm sure that's fine, whatever, but a lot of them don't sound that self-deprecating, and that's what I appreciate. As soon as someone's self-deprecating, you've got me on your side to whatever you're selling. Yeah,
that's I think that's I'm always pointing out how rubbish I am at just everything. Or not rubbish, no, like just how wrong I can get things. Like
and that's what you want. It's like I admit I am wrong quite a lot of the time. Here's my views though. Here you go. Like
one guy, all I said at the beginning of the gig was, let's hear it for the infrastructure, and just go on this long thing about all the good running water we have. Thank you for everybody who works for the infrastructure. Thank you for all the people who plumb my toilet so I could. I'm not selling it right now, but it was funnier than that. But there was a guy who came up and he said, that really spoke to him. It was the funniest thing. I went, what? He goes, yeah, nobody talks about people who work in the infrastructure. I build the roads. He says, no one ever jokes about us building the roads.
It's wonderful. I like it. An audience of one just for that joke. And like it sounds brilliant anyway, but I love the fact that guy was made up. Finally, someone said it.
Someone's joking about our stuff. And then
representation matters.
And then I found myself there for a while. I was doing like loads of anti-Brexit stuff, and then I thought to myself, sometimes it's like a rally when you go out and you just do like. And so I made myself go, no, I'm going to meet people who want Brexit, because there's no way they can all be horrible people. I think I was watching another comedian do it, and it made me think, you can't judge people. They're not all this or that. So and you meet some of them and you go, oh, they're just normal people who think a different thought. So I didn't do a routine that was pro-Brexit. I maintained my position on it, which was anti it, but I also did it kind of pro the majority of people who wanted it. You know, they just wanted a different thing.
I've always found it really difficult when people talk about just blocking people for having different political views, because my dad was a conservative councillor. If you like, he worked for the enemy. I'm a liberal lefty loon. I will kind of wear it on my sleeve. That's where I come from. But like, if I want to write off,
you're not going to not love your dad. Yeah, you're not going to just not love your dad. And I know
he's gone now, so the problem went away. But no. No, my mum's conservative as well, so it's still there. Don't worry.
Yeah, my parents were quite a bit, but they were also quite liberal compared to the other farmers around them. And like my dad actually held some kind of left-ish ideas. Like, he was, some of them, they had pretty extreme views on the homeless and stuff like that. And dad would always defend the homeless. And like for a farmer, that's a pretty radical, radical position. But, you can't just not love these people. Sure, there's some bad people on the right, and there's some bad people on the left too, though, isn't there?
There certainly are. There certainly are.
How did we get onto politics? I hate politics.
Let's go back to you then, sir, because you mentioned Stuart Lee there.
What about
and that
this?
Was, hey.
Black Death fortune hunters. Can't wait to get into this article. I never really thought about it that way.
Coming from?
So 1347, whatever the year was, the Black Death. I never really got my head around or ever thought, oh yeah, I bet people exploited that situation. But they sure handled their pandemic badly, didn't they? 1 in 2 died. We nailed it. We fucking won, didn't we?
Is this an historical fortune hunters, or are there people now chasing down the Black Death money?
No, this is back then. People, I haven't read the article yet, but I got to find out how they profited from the plague. But what bad numbers they put up, though. Half of all people, imagine half the people dead. That'd be unbelievable. So there would be a way to exploit that, though, wouldn't there? First of all, you'd take all their stuff. So that's one thing. But mind you, back in 1347, nobody had any stuff.
I'm just worried.
Poor.
I'm not even going to get political here. I'm just worried any politician will get hold of that and see it as a manual. It's like, oh, Jesus, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah. We could have our workforce within a year. Yeah. That would make the employment figures would be better, wouldn't they? Anyway.
There you go.
So but you were going to.
No, I was just going to say, one of your first tours was with Stuart Lee, which you mentioned before. How was his audience? Like, I spoke to Trevor Locke last week, and he said the audience were very giving. But I could imagine your material being quite surrealist and out there, and his being quite grounded in some ways. How did that play?
I think actually, I found that he brought a lot of his fans really appreciated me. So I think his hardcore ones maybe didn't, the more sort of literate ones, but he can be quite surreal himself sometimes. He was doing some weird stuff back then. It wasn't as political as it's become. Like he did one about vomiting onto the Jesus's gaping anus, the gaping anus of Christ or something. It was just the weirdest. And he's such a weird guy. He's so smart. It was so much fun. We used to go to loads of National Trust places. He was a National Trust member. So when we were touring around, when I tour on my little mini tours, I drive home just about from anywhere. And if I can't make it home, I'll stop at my mother-in-law's and stay there. Because she'll keep the dog for me while I go do the gig. Because he's too big to leave for the kids and my wife. He's too big and untrained. What type have you got? A big black German Shepherd.
Oh, lovely.
And he's the nicest, sweetest dog. But I never trained him to not pull in the lead, and so he'll just pull, and he's very excitable, and he'd run away if you went boo. Like he'd bark at you until you just went boo, and then he'd turn and run. Like he's no guard dog, but he's humongous and he looks scary, which is a shame for him because he's actually a real softie. But yeah, so when I'm on tour, I'll drive back. Anyway, so Stuart Lee, that's right. On his tours, we would stay in hotels and stuff because he was getting enough people in that he could afford to have a driver, pay me a driver. And the driver was also like a technician too, and a hotel. And so we would have all this time in the day. And when we weren't writing in our hotels, we would be driving to old, ruined abbeys and just loads of cool National Trust stuff. And so we had some weird conversations in the car. Yeah. James Hingley, he does that for him now. Finally, when I was on tour I was trying to sell him Led Zeppelin, saying, because he's into his music. I was going, what about Led Zeppelin? Why don't you like Led Zeppelin? No, shit. But James Hingley, 10 years later, came up to me and he goes, "Guess who I got to listen to all of Led Zeppelin on this last tour? Stuart Lee." What? I couldn't do it. Anyway, I don't know why I jumped to that.
That's fine. It's all good. I mean, I just think that one of his tours coming up should be Stuart Lee and the Gaping Anus of Christ. That's the only way he can beat his old comedy partner, Richard Herring, with Christ on a Bike.
It might have been what it was called. No, no, he had his picture on a face on a Nero cup of coffee. It was really good. He sang Galway Girl every night with the guitar. He always tries to do one thing to challenge himself that he's not done before, and I took that inspiration from him. So yeah, it was good. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He's a grumpy guy. He's a grumpy old bastard, and he sure sticks to his principles. That's for sure. I mean, he's misguided and wrong on a whole ton of stuff, but hey, so am I.
Aren't we all? Like we said, self-deprecating is good.
Yeah. I am wrong most of the time, but when I'm right, I'm averagely right.
Actually, can I nick that for the slogan for this podcast? Because
please do.
It sums it very nicely. It's good.
I'm just looking at myself. This is the danger of doing stream and podcasts. Is I'm always looking at myself. That's why when I do my stream on Twitch, my head's floating on the screen. But I always watch like weird clips on YouTube, like, or go on train journeys, and you view from the driver's perspective. It's just and then I watch that, so I'm not tempted to go, your hair's really receding. There.
How are the live shows going? Was that something you started doing more in lockdown, or was that something you already
the Twitch?
Twitch, yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, I started that in lockdown, yeah, because I needed something to do. I'd hoped it would have gone more successful. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to find ways to make money, obviously, and it makes a tiny amount of money, but it's built up, and I just love doing it. But I didn't really go all in. You know, some people like Claire Lim, she does it like all day, and Limmy in Scotland, he does it all day long, every day, like treats it like an 8-hour day job. Whereas I was only doing 2 hours on a Sunday, 2 hours on a Wednesday, and 2 hours on a Friday. And now I'm just doing Wednesdays and Sundays, 2 hours each time. But I couldn't manage more than that because I try and make each one a comedy show of its own. And I do it with this guy called Kai, who runs some gigs out in Norfolk. And we haven't even seen each other in face to face for almost 2 years. But I got in touch with him because I know he's good with his computers. And so I go on a Zoom call to him, and he patches me and puts my face over the screen and plays all the videos I've sent him. And then I gave him a really high little voice, like, "Hey, guy," like a, comedy kid's voice. It's not supposed to be a kid. It's supposed to be like a pixie or something. Anyway, and then we banter a bit, and then I go off on Surreal Tales. I love it, actually. It's one of my favorite things to do, is to stream for 2 hours and just look at old films. Like we were watching 1975 World Frisbee Championships. It was it's magical. Then we watched 1960s pool tournaments. This year's softball championships in the American universities, ladies softball. Yeah, you name it. Oh, it's great. And history videos.
Is it at Mr. Tony Law? Twitch.tv/?
Well, it's called The Tone Zone, but it's actually on our channel called Virtue Chamber Echo Bravo, which is, I know, I probably could have had a lot more followers by now if we had to change that name. But it's called Virtue Chamber Echo Bravo because it was the thing me and Phil Nicol and myself did up in Edinburgh the last time there was in Edinburgh. And it was like a double act where we pretend to be more virtuous than anybody in the audience, and we're overly woke, and we back any cause there is, to the point where we actually come across as a bit like fascists, almost like running people down in the audience for not caring about whatever issue or cause that we champion. It's just being a couple of assholes, really. and just judging people on how they just don't care enough. Nobody cares about the environment like we do. Stuff like that. Nobody cares about, human rights like we do. And just a pair of horrible assholes, but fun.
Yeah.
And so then we did that together with Kai on, so it used to be just me and Phil with both our faces on screen. But after about 9 months, Phil got fed up with it. He didn't want to do anything to do with comedy for a while, because I think the lockdown really got to a lot of comedians, didn't it? And he just thought, if I'm not doing comedy right now, making a living, I'm not doing comedy at all. So he stopped doing it. Whereas I kept doing it because I don't know, it was I really needed it. But yeah, so yeah, it's Virtue Chamber Echo Bravo is the name of the channel. But I think if you just put in the Tone Zone, I think it would come up. Tony Law, the Tone Zone. Tony Law on Twitch. Yeah.
Check it out. And like you've recently returned back to touring. How was that after such a long break? I don't know if this is true, but I just always got the feeling you were someone who kind of toured a lot and you were kind of always on the circuit at some point or another.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a tour when the first COVID lockdown came. And then I rebooked everything for the summer because I was optimistic. And then I managed to get away. And then I had to rebook everything again for the autumn. And I managed to get 2 or 3 shows under my belt. And I loved it. It was like 9 months off, having done Zoom gigs, which I actually don't mind doing Zoom gigs. But anyway, so then those had to get wiped out again. And now it's only now as it's starting up again. And they're not really tour shows yet. They're comedy clubs. So I've only got a couple here and there. But my solo shows in little mini arts theaters and stuff, they're going to mostly picking up towards the autumn. Now it's kind of like just working out how to do stand-up again and trying to just do new material, trying to improvise in the shows. And get material that way, try out an idea like buying my vaccine on the dark web and then take it from there. See that develops into a routine. What are you doing up there, Cat? Oh, look at that cat. Can you see him?
Yes.
What are you doing up there? There's Wolfie in the other room. There's Amazon. I wanted to get a job with them actually, but I didn't get around to trying. It looks like a good job. I love to drive, but I think it's also a lot of physical work, isn't it? Up and down, up and down. You're in and out of your car all the time. I don't think it's easy. Yeah, they look fit.
I do love that during lockdown. At least we found out that our dog is we've got 2 dogs. One is a little scrappy one from Romania, and he loves to let us know when the post's arriving. That's definitely one thing. We never need to worry about a doorbell. I was thinking one, but we got him. It's fine.
Yeah, it's amazing how Wolfie can almost sense them before they ring the buzzer. Yeah, we're up on the 3rd floor, but I think he can hear certain vans, like the DPD van. I think he knows he's coming. And the postman tiptoes up the stairs, but Wolfie hears him right from the bottom. He knows exactly. Yeah, nuts.
So we are going to have to run things off. This is a quick lunchtime edition of the Doctor Squee Show. So please tell us where you're heading to next, or where the tour is heading when you start on that. And it's all at mrtonylord.com as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything up on that yet. I better start doing that. Okay. I'm still kind of not. Just follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and I always send out when I'm going to be on tour. But I've got things coming up in September, October, like Brighton and Lancaster, the Dukes. So if you're near an art center, just go on their website, and I'll be coming there. Just put me in the Google. And otherwise, come watch my stream, because I tell everybody what I'm doing on my stream show all the time. Yeah.
And so please come back to Southampton soon. We got to see you here.
Oh, love to, man. Can't wait. Yeah, I got to find a venue there. If anybody comes up with some venues, get in touch.
The Art House is a good one. They're always putting on
Art
live
House.
comedy and really cool events.
Okay.
So, and you played there before under a different name.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that.
So thank you very much. Hopefully you've had a good time.
I have. Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to see you.
Please come back on sometime soon. And before we do go, though, because this is going out on the radio, what song would you like to hear for the radio version?
Oh, I would love to hear Take It Easy by the Eagles. My son and I listen to that on the way to school when I drive him to school in the morning.
So if you're listening on the radio, this is Take It Easy by the Eagles. However, if you're watching live or you're listening to the podcast, you'll hear a very short snippet of the Eagles. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Law. I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. And remember, guys, in a world where you can be literally anything, please be kind.